Hello and welcome. When we hear the term online learning, it's so easy to picture just one thing, right? Maybe someone sitting at a laptop watching a lecture. But honestly, the reality is so much bigger and way more interesting. So let's dive into this world of digital education. So let's just start with the big question right off the bat. Is all online learning the same? And the short answer is absolutely not. Nope. The term actually covers this huge range of styles, methods, and technologies, and each one has its own unique flavor. To really get our heads around it all, it helps to think of e-learning as a spectrum. Yeah, a spectrum. On one end, you've got live, real-time classes, and way over on the other end, you have total freedom to learn whenever you want. Let's break down what that actually looks like.
So this spectrum has two main poles. On one side, we have synchronous learning. The best way to think about this is like a live TV show. Everybody's tuned in at the exact same time, interacting right there in the moment. Then, on the other side, you've got asynchronous learning. This is more like your favorite streaming service. The content is just there, waiting for you to access it whenever you're ready, whether that's a recorded lecture or a discussion forum you pop into at 2 a.m.
Now, if we take that freedom a step further, we get to self-paced learning. This is a purely asynchronous model where you are completely in the driver's seat. You control the schedule, you control the speed, the entire learning journey is yours to command. It's maximum flexibility for sure, but it also demands a huge amount of personal drive to see it through. But what if you don't want to choose between learning online and being in a classroom? Well, that's exactly where blended learning comes in. This model is the ultimate hybrid, mixing the structure of a traditional classroom with all the flexibility and resources of online education. It's really trying to give you the best of both worlds.
Okay, so we've covered the timing of learning, right? From live classes to on-demand stuff. But that's just one piece of the puzzle. Now let's switch gears and look at the technology that makes all of this possible, the how of it all.
First up is something we all have in our pockets. Yep, mobile learning. This is education delivered right to your smartphone or tablet. And its greatest strength is just how convenient it is. You can learn on the bus, during your lunch break, pretty much anywhere you've got your device. And I mean, a perfect example that so many of us have tried is Duolingo. It just perfectly captures what mobile learning is all about. These little bite-sized lessons, gamified experiences, and learning that just fits into the small gaps in our day.
Next up, we've got a model that's less about the content and way more about the connection. It's called social learning, and it's built on this really simple idea that we often learn best from each other. It's all about collaboration, discussion, and sharing what you know within a community.
And to make that super concrete, just think about any educational discussion you've seen in a Facebook or a WhatsApp group. That's social learning right there, in action. It takes the platforms we already use to connect with friends and turns them into these surprisingly powerful learning tools.
And finally, let's look at a method that's all about doing. Interactive learning moves way beyond just passively watching or reading something. It pulls you right in with games, complex simulations, even 3D models. It makes you an active participant in your own education. So we've seen the what and the how, but what's the big picture here? What are the massive goals that are driving this huge global shift towards digital education? Let's explore the why. And trust me, the ambitions are huge. We're talking about making education accessible to absolutely everyone, improving the quality of it, and bringing down the costs. But it's also about making learning smarter. Using data to offer personalized instruction and to continuously measure performance in ways a traditional classroom just never could.
Of course, it's not some perfect utopia just yet. To actually reach those incredible goals, we have to be really honest about the challenges. There are some significant hurdles we still need to clear on this path to great digital learning for everyone.
The first major challenge, well, it falls squarely on the learner, on us. That incredible freedom and flexibility we just talked about, it's a double-edged sword. Without a fixed schedule and that face-to-face accountability, all the motivation has to come from within. It's a big reason why some online courses have such low completion rates. It takes a ton of self-discipline to stay the course. And the second challenge is technical. And this one creates a very real digital divide. See, effective e-learning kind of assumes everyone has the right tools. But a stable, fast internet connection, a reliable device, these things aren't universal. Without that basic foundation, that promise of education for all stays just out of reach for way too many people. So, here we are. We have all these different models in our hands. Live classes, on-demand content, blended classrooms, apps that feel like games. The toolbox for learning is bigger and more powerful than it has ever been. Which leaves us with this one fascinating final question. As learners, as educators, and as innovators, how are we going to mix and match all these options to build a future of education that's not just more accessible, but more effective and engaging for everyone? Thanks for joining this explainer.